Okay, hello everyone. We just reached the limited time of IG Live video, so we were forced to end it up, and now we are starting again. I've posted it on my Instagram. If you want to watch that, feel free to do that. Anyway, we are gonna wait for a couple of minutes to let the audiences join us. Then I will ask Eddy to join us and share his wonderful knowledge with us. I think there is a problem. My Instagram doesn't show the audiences. Okay. We will wait for a couple of minutes. Oh, Mr. Pardee, thank you so much for joining us. استاد خیلی خوش اومدید. لطف که تشریف آوردید. Eddy, yes, you're here, Eddy. Thank you. I will ask you to join us in a couple of minutes. I will send you the requests. Now I'm just waiting for the audiences to join us. Okay. Okay, Yasaman, thank you for writing me the question. I don't know if you heard me before or not. I was not sure if I was on live or not. Anyway, I got the question. Please write the audience's experiences as well. So I will share them with Eddy because he's enthusiastic to know about audience's experiences during the exercises. Okay. We will wait until at least. I think we can continue. Okay, Eddy, I will send you the request. Eddy, I'm خب من مخاطب فارسیمون مرسی که دوباره تشریف آوردید بهمون اضافه شدید. پارت اول با ادی صحبت کردیم. Eddy, I'm just telling about the first part in Persian. Then I will ask you to join. خب مرسی که بهمون دوباره اضافه شدین. ما توی پارت اول ادی راجع به الکساندر تکنیک صحبت کرد، بادی مپینگ صحبت کرد و سوزوکی چون مربی همشون هست و یه خودم راجع به جولیارد صحبت کرد و اینکه چه جوری بود اونجا وضعیت تحصیلش و اینکه خود توی ارکستر نیویورک ساز میزده دیگه. من یه سری سوالا اینجا نوشتم که ازش میپرسم قاعدتاً الان توی پارت دوم راجع به چیزایی که بهمون گفت. یه سری تمرینات داد که تمرین خیلی جالبی بود در واقع روی اینکه ما چقدر نسبت به بدنمون آگاهی داریم کار کرد. من یه سری سوال نوشتم که قاعدتاً ازش میپرسم، اما شما هم اگر سوالی داشتید به فارسی بنویسید. یاسمن برای من اینجا میفرسته، من ترجمه میکنم. حتما اگه سوالی بود بپرسید ازم. من بین لایو هم از ادی هی دارم تایم در واقع ترجمه میگیرم و اونجایی که خیلی مطلب مهم و حیاتیه ترجمه میکنم که قطعا متوجهش بشید. Okay, Eddy, I'm going to send you the invitation. Eddy, do you see a request on your screen? If you see it, please accept it and join us. I'm trying to find you here. Invite. Eddy, let me find you. Eddy, would you please? You send me the request. I think there is a problem here, or you are not connected, are you? Please send me something here so I can understand that you are with us or not. Because when I touch your name, I don't get the request sign. What should I do now? Eddie, I found you. I think there was...
Yes.
Oh, thank God. I finally got you.
I love Instagram. They just like...
Were you with
Pardon?
Were you seeing my picture, or
Yeah,
I was interrupted?
I saw you the whole time. I heard everything from the how do you call the Persian introduction and everything. But I was like, oh, you just gotta love Instagram.
Okay, I couldn't, send you the request. It was really strange, but I couldn't do anything. Anyway, okay, we all ears.
So I'm like, this is a part 2 of sorts. So salam again, and hello everybody, and I just want to thank you again for letting me talk. In the first video, I do know for a fact that I was giving a lot of information. It's a lot of information. I told you about myself. I told you that, talked about Dr. Suzuki. I was going in between, you know, Mr. Alexander's work and body mapping, which was discovered by 2 Alexander teachers. So, you know, it is connected. What was that's concerned. Just trying to give you some experiences without using the anatomical things that I actually use to teach, because I definitely believe that visual is important. This way you can, because if you're speaking to somebody and you don't have any idea, but if you see it, like, this is the top of your spine and this is where your neck muscles really are. Like I showed you, Hamed, when we were doing the Zoom, you know, just to show you where the neck muscles are and the top of the spine and your head, and you actually form a much more clearer body map, you know, and then you can use yourself in a much more efficient way. So that, I do recognize that the last video I was giving you guys a lot of information. However, I was trying to give you guys some experiences, like when we did the writing thing. But I think right now that I would love it to open up this to any questions that anybody has. And I know that you have, Hamed, that you have some questions for me, but if anybody has any questions or would like any clarity from those of us who've joined us from the last video, if they need some more clarity, because again, I did give you a lot of history and things, and I was like, ready, set, go, memorize.
I've written a couple of questions here. I would ask you one by one, and please let us know more about them. For example, the first thing that I noticed during your speech was that you said that the first time that you faced an injury and you were in pain while praying was the time that you were 16. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. You said that you have taken the Alexander technique after your graduation, after your master graduation. What did you do during that time with that pain? You just carried on?
So this was the situation when I was a student, even when I was 16, all through my college, I was studying privately. I was taking private lessons from an Alexander teacher. And the thing is that I always felt, why do I feel good after a lesson? And it would last me like 2 or 3 days. But you have to understand, I went to Juilliard, any conservatory, it doesn't matter what school anybody goes to, quite frankly. You know, people tend to practice when you're young, 5, 6 hours, sometimes 8 hours a day. That's just practicing in a room. I don't mean orchestra, chamber music, lessons, you know, academic class. I mean practicing. So I would have this pain, like I would wake up in pain, like, and I had nothing to do with the instrument. What happened was, immediately, I didn't even take 1 year off. Immediately after graduating from Juilliard, I immediately went to my certification for the 3-year certification. And the reason why I liked the 3-year certification, because it was 5 days a week, it was 3 or 4 hours a day. So it wasn't a tremendous commitment. It was a commitment for 3 years, but it wasn't like this, I was going to school, you know, for 8 hours a day or something like that. And during that time, believe it or not, everybody, I stopped playing for 1.5 years. I felt that I needed to heal my body. And quite frankly, I think I've come back better than I was, even though I was like programmed, you have to be perfect. I went to music festivals in the summers in the summers I would go to music festivals during the year. It was just like very intense since I was 13, 14 years old. I started giving concerts overseas in Europe when I was 15. So it was like the pressure was so high. And like I said to you guys in the previous video, that we can have all the talent that we have, but then sometimes we get a little bit uncomfortable. And muscles, I like to think of our skeletal system as floating in a sea of muscles. So what does that give to you? The muscles are much more, they're in constant state of fluidity. You're never cemented. They're not meant to be cemented. Another thing I'm going to use the word fascia. You guys are more than welcome to look up that word fascia. It's that clear gelatin material that we say in English, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And for us, it's like, well, where does fascia go? Because it's that thin layer of gelatin material that if you took the skin away, you would see the muscles. But guess what? You would have fascia on top of it because it's clear. And it goes into the musculature and into the bones. So what comes first? Did it come from the bones through the muscles to take the shape of your body, or did it take the shape of your body and go in? So that's the thing. I don't know what the answer to that is. I think it's fascinating. Fascia does get tense, and that's when you get that knot in the shoulder here. That's because your fascia hardened. But the beautiful part about fascia is underneath the skin that it has the ability to let go. That's why, again, when I had you guys do the writing exercise, think about how many times you do an activity away from your instrument, that you compress yourself, that you hold your breath, and you don't. And that someone had asked about the unconscious. It's like, no, we do things from an unconscious point because we do things automatically, and what you're doing is giving yourself education to say, well, if I free my neck, if I breathe, if my spine can lengthen internally, you can rebalance yourself, and you can still do the activity in a much more efficient way. Guitar, I do know for a fact, even Barbara Conable, who's there's Bill and Barbara Conable who discovered body mapping, who are Alexander teachers. Even she, who wrote the book How to Learn the Alexander Technique. Really, you guys should know about Barbara Conable, wonderful mentor. She has even said the guitar is the hardest because the neck is so thick. And then you have the Spanish guitars, and you have the Middle Eastern guitar. I'm like, oh my God! And so, so it's so many different things that you have to accommodate for, but you still can use yourself in a very efficient way. If that
yes. Regarding your the things that you said, in MuseMuscle we call it a self-evaluation. We say, okay, you have to be aware all the time. Self-awareness is really important. You have to be aware. Okay, while I'm doing, for example, if I'm writing, is my shoulder have a reason or not? My shoulder are raised. Okay, it's a problem. If I'm talking on the phone like this, again, there's a problem. You have to monitor yourself all the time because it's really important. And when you do that, step by step, while you are playing your instrument, you understand, okay, I can self-evaluate myself that time as well. For example, for a guitar player, it's really common to have this shoulder like this and the other one like this. Okay, in this posture, my body cannot operate properly. My muscles are stiff. Okay, my joints are stiff. How can I play music? So if I do that, I'm just putting more pressure on the small muscles. So I will face an injury. It's crystal clear. And guitar has it, in my estimation, in MuseMuscle, we also believe that guitar is the hardest. And guitarists are facing most injuries. Of course, violinists and pianists are the second one and the third one. But guitarists are, I don't know, the numbers are rising, and people don't care about that, because what they learn is a bad posture, and guitar has a good sound. And the time that they play the guitar, they say, okay, I want to hear a good sound. They start to struggle and play that. And during that time, your muscles are not ready for playing that piece. You have to learn that piece, for example, 2 years later. But you try, you struggle to do that, okay, you face injury. and that's I think guitar is the hardest. She was, you know, in MuseMuscle we also think about that, and really believe it is.
Yes,
it's really difficult.
It is
and
really difficult.
I myself, yes, when I started learning MuseMuscle, I thought, okay, even although I was, you know, thinking about my body, I was trying to have exercise, I was trying to have a good nutrition for playing the instrument, but I also had some problems, you know, and I really worked hard to get rid of those ones. They were awful, you know, they were driving me crazy.
Well, I mean, the fascinating thing is to what I was even saying. If you guys remember, those of us who are new, joining us new, I spoke to how I got into some problems when I was playing. And it was discovered that my chin rest and my shoulder rest in violin and viola, that we use the chin rest and the shoulder rest, it wasn't the correct setup. The same thing happens with guitar. Like, I know that, you know, to keep yourself not, you can be rounded, but are you going to be are you going to be in a compressed state? Do you use a foot pedal? How high, how tall are you? Are you have to sit, like, do you sit on a stool? Do you sit in a higher chair? Do you put blocks in the back of the chair? There's so many props that you have to do, this external things to make yourself, because when the big number one thing is, I never come to my glasses, the glasses come to me. So the same thing when you're brushing your teeth, I brush my teeth this way, I go, you know, I lean forward. I'm not compressing this way. To this day, I use headphones for my phone because I refuse to do this. And plus, it's not healthy to hold the cell phone. It's not healthy. That battery is really physically not healthy. But I use the headpiece. So this way, I'm not compromising myself. But the thing with guitar, now this is a little bit for me to just use words, but you can round yourself, but you don't want to compress yourself, and that's the trick. That's why when Hamed and I, we did a Zoom thing, and I was showing him about the arms, and I actually had him draw the arm, and we also went to, what's the word I'm looking for? I had him draw the arm, and then we went through the arm, what consists of an arm. We asked a very simple question, and then what we talked about was the joints of the arm and its subdivisions, and then we talked about the function of the bones. So, and that's like, it's really great academic information to have, and depending on how long your arms are, or, you know, we even have this thing called humoscapular rhythm. It's a thing. You can look it up on YouTube. There's a, I believe, very short animated video of the humoroscapular rhythm. And something just fascinating. It's like the upper arm leads and your scapula, your shoulder blade needs to follow. But your neck muscles need to be free. So, because if your neck muscles are tight, that's going to be a very difficult thing for your arms. So that's where I am with that.
You know, that's a wonderful, you know, things that sometimes, of course, it's not, I believe it's surprise, you know, it's a surprise. When we are aware of ourselves, for example, the time that you asked us to write something, we think that, okay, we have self-awareness and I can think about myself to be, you know, really relaxed and free. But sometimes you understand, okay, I have some problems here. Even thought that I'm thinking about that, but I still have problems. For example, in MuseMuscle, we say, even the time that you have absolute self-awareness and you think that what you are doing, sometimes during playing let's say advanced piece or difficult piece, you unconsciously bring some contractions to your muscles and put some strain places on some parts of your body. You know, you don't want to do that, but you do it. That's why we have intended a lot of exercises to do after that time. For example, you see, I'm playing and I suddenly understand, okay, I'm just stiffing these muscles, you know, they are contracted and there's a pain here. So I get up and do some exercises to get rid of those muscles. We call those exercises contraction release exercises.
Oh, wow.
And we really believe they are needed for musicians. Because as I told you, even the time that you have absolute self-awareness, of course you have experienced it. Some of time we do it unconsciously. Do you agree with me?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And that's and again, it's the somatics, the study of human movement. That's
Yes,
what
exactly.
that's is what it is. I mean, and it's wonderful when you're talking about that. I'm looking forward to studying that more with you. But you know,
It's my pleasure.
to sharing and stuff like that. But
Yes.
again, if you have any questions, like, did you want me to address any questions
Yes.
that you have, or and any of the audience that have any questions?
Yes. Since you are a Suzuki certified teacher, I want to know if is there any performance related injuries prevention in Suzuki method? Do they talk about it in Suzuki?
It's not as detailed as you would have for the Alexander technique and body mapping and Feldenkrais or anything of that sense, but he does specifically. So this is the part that's a little bit hard. Dr. Suzuki spoke about good posture. So that's the tricky part, because it's like, no, there is no good posture. There's efficient posture. There's something that you can, efficient posture. It's not posture, because posture to most people cement, when you're making the building and stuff like that, people go very stiff all of a sudden. And it's not about being perfect. Remember what I said earlier, the skeletal system floats in a sea of muscles. So that means muscles are fluid. They're always in motion. There's an organic mobility with that. And that's a really super important concept to actually explore, quite frankly, that whether it's consciously when you're doing something or not, or of that sort. But with the Suzuki method, he did at least talk about good posture, because people would play like this or something like that. And he's like, no, you need to be more upright. And you got to consider, this is a time where they didn't have the internet and buttons and all these models to show and stuff like that. So it's very smart about his instinct. And so was Alexander. Pretty forward thinking, if you think about it. But they do, in the Suzuki method, really talk about the chin rest and the shoulder rest and using the body, like they always say, nose to the squirrel, because that's where the top of the spine, like it's behind the nose, and the nose leads, or the eyes can lead. If you look at some people when they turn, they lead with their chin, and all this is getting tight. You really should lead with your eyes and nose side to side, because that's the top of the spine, where the skull rests on top of the spine. I mean, it's kind of, this is very geeky, or like we say in English, like nerd, but the top of the spine actually rotates like this. And it's so cool because the skull rests on that. It has a little notch, and then there's an indentation in there, and it rests like a ledge of like a bookshelf or something like that. It's just, the human body is fascinating when you actually start to dissect and peel, and it has there's certain places that have ball, and then there's certain places that have little wheels, and you're just like, this is inside of us, and it's really wild when you think about it. But Dr. Suzuki, yes, going back to your question, is like, yes, he did talk about this, but Roland, I'm so embarrassed I forgot his name, and I forgot where he was from in Europe. He was very much into this whole playing, and I believe it's from the 1960s and 70s. He went a little bit further than Dr. Suzuki and was like saying, hey, because, the Suzuki method is from when you're learning when you're 4 years old until whenever, and you're working with your parent. So there's, you have homework to do together, and it's all this beautiful stuff. But Roland went from the teenagers up until the early 20, demographic of kids, I should say. And then, he had them like doing all these exercises to like do with the playings. And he was another one. I believe, I'm embarrassed, everybody, but I forgot his first name. But Roland, yeah, we can Google, yeah, Roland, music educator, and I believe now for free it's on the YouTube, because it used to be very expensive videos, like $200 or something like this, per video, something crazy, but you can YouTube it, and that's another great resource on how you use yourself and everything. So there's been a lot of people within the instrumental community in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, that were very body aware. but I don't know how it is. I'm pretty positive it happens in Iran as well. What I call is a belief system, meaning that if you're a musician and if your teacher is telling you you have to do this because his teacher or her teacher told them to do this, and then their teacher told them, so what you have is this lineage that's being passed down. And I think from my experience at Juilliard, talking about Alexander technique and your body and well-being, that was a big no-no. They thought that you were cuckoo. So here I have my school thinking I'm cuckoo. My parents think I'm crazy because I'm a vegetarian. I was said, where am I? I said I'm not fitting in. But what I'm trying to communicate to you guys is, there's belief systems that are passed down either from generation to or hundreds of years, at least in Western, like you have to hold the bow this way and you have to play this way. It was like you have to go to the individual, and there has to be a custom-made individual experience as opposed to telling you what to do. Yes, you have technique, but then you have to go within that technique for your own self, for your own well-being, for your own physical health. And that's a major thing I'm not saying challenge your teachers, but what I am saying is like learn from them and then see what works for you on a comfortable level.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Let's imagine a situation. For example, I'm a musician in the United States and I'm injured. I'm in pain, and for example, I face lack of control. I cannot play my instrument anymore. So I want to know the popularity. Am I told to visit an Alexander technique, or I will be told to go and see some physiotherapists, chiropractors? Which one? I get more suggestion.
I have to be honest with you, because what we call that is the $1 million question. So the Alexander technique, body mapping, including Feldenkrais, who was a student of Alexander at some point early on, that's an education. So like I said to you in the first video, the Alexander technique is a re-education of your posture through movement and breathing. But the thing is that if you're actually having physical pain in the now, you might have to either do the physical therapy or some sort of therapy first, because there might be inner inflammation that's going on, and you need to keep that inner inflammation down, and you just really need to take that time. Some people like me, I actually did both. I did Alexander technique, and then I was doing going to physical therapy or taking cream. I was putting creams, acupuncture. I went to Chinatown and I was drinking from the Chinese doctor. I was drinking you have to boil the tea that has like leaves and dirt and tree, whatever. And I was like, I don't care. Like I was drinking this thing like this, but anything to make me like heal and lose my inflammation from the inside. And then, again, these types of works, do help with your education in that way. So if I'm not mistaken, you said that at the beginning, they ask you to see some physiotherapists or chiropractors, and after that, they ask you to Alexander technique. They ask you to take the Alexander technique lessons or body mapping to re-educate your physical movement. Yes. Yes, and again, everybody, it's very, 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 very individual. I'm not here that I didn't even go to a medical school. I mean, this is stuff that I've learned from Alexander technique, which is associated with the medical field, but you're not a doctor, or anything like that. I just studied some basic, and I use the word basic anatomy, and then it's on a personal journey. It was like myself as being organic. We are organic human beings, and one big thing that people tease me about, like I'm always like using creams on the face to not put wrinkles. I take vitamins. They always say, "You're American." And I said, yes, I know you should get vitamins from your food. I understand that. But when you're teaching, when you're working with students, when you're literally running around, sometimes you're not in control of what you eat. So I take vitamins, and you have to make sure Is it synthetic vitamins or is it organic vitamins? I do the organic vitamin. You know, there's like certain things that you can do that are preventative for yourself, but everything is so individual. You have your genetics as well, you know, which I find fascinating. My parents' family come from opposite sides of the Mediterranean all the way down to the Caribbean, but and South America. And I'm like, how they all have diabetes? I'm like, oh, great, something to look forward to. But I can work on prevention by taking supplements and eating certain foods and doing certain exercises. But when, again, it's all individual, how busy you are, what's more important to get the inflammation down first. Do you do it at the same time? In North America, well, I should say the United States, not Canada, but in the United States, it's medical is different here. Like, people don't go to the doctor because you pay a lot of money, you know, where like when we lived in Canada, I was like, $35 a month, and I'm like, I can walk into a clinic. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So, you know, it's just the mentality of where you are in the world, what country you are in, you know. And again, from your earlier question, what do you suggest first? It's individual. You have to see what's the most important thing first. You want that pain down first, but remember, Alexander technique in body mapping is an education. It's a re-education. So that actually takes time. Yes. Experience. So it can go together and stuff like that. What exercises do I suggest? I personally, this is a personal thing. I love yoga. I do the hot yoga. You know, here it was called Bikram yoga, but it's called the hot yoga. They have Ashtanga yoga. They have all these different type of yoga. I do Pilates. I love Pilates. So I do things that are not, running for me, I don't do it because of my knees. I'm afraid of my knees, of doing that hard impact. And that's just a personal thing. Cardio, maybe running up and down the stairs, maybe doing stretches. But again, this is a personal thing. And if you really want to like make sure about the arms, you can do planks, and then you can do like push-ups on the knees and then on the feet, you know, like you want to gradually build yourself up. You don't want to start doing this machismo, like, you know, I'm doing the, you know, it's like, no, you have to do it step by step by step. But those are the types of exercises I like. I have friends who love to do football, kicking the ball, like they do the American soccer, like this type of thing. People just, they do CrossFit. Do you guys have CrossFit?
Yes.
Yeah. So people do CrossFit. You know, it just depends on what you actually are attracted to do. Mine was yoga and Pilates. Like, I felt good, like, to do that. And I kept myself nice and toned and stuff like that naturally. But of course, you got to be careful with the bread and the pasta and all that stuff. But like, and again, what you put inside yourself is, you know, we're organic human beings. So that's why I said we're Olympic athletes. We like have to educate ourselves, and then we have to make sure that inflammation is down. What are you eating? What are you putting in your body? Like, and I'm not saying that you have to walk around being a skinny person. No, that's not healthy either. But it's just to make sure that you have energy and good care.
Yes. Okay, thank you. I have another question. In Juilliard School, are you supposed to take some Alexander technique lessons? Are they obligatory?
It's not obligatory. In fact, it's called an elective. So that means that you have the choice to take it. But it's really funny at Juilliard, I learned when I got hired at New York University at Steinhardt, I was going against what the situation was at Juilliard, because at Juilliard, you can sign up for the class, but it's in a group. So you're in a group lesson with like maybe 10 or 15 other people. But the funny part is that as the semester goes on, these people start dropping out because of the schedule. And then the teacher there, she charges like $100 for 30 minutes or something like that. And yeah, and because people want to take privately with her. So it's, when I got hired at NYU, the cool thing, and again, it's an elective. The thing at NYU, the cool thing is they can take it for credit, and I give them 30-minute private lessons. So I said, please, no group. I think we need to have the private 30-minute lessons, and the students love it. Like the administration's very happy and the students love it. So it depends on the school. But at Juilliard or any other school, it's not required. But the good thing about NYU is you can take it for a credit, which is quite nice.
I couldn't agree more with you about the private lessons. I think because everyone is different, we have to respect the differences, and we have to have a private session for everyone. It's necessary, and these things, because teaching them in a group doesn't make sense to me, you know. They really need to be individual, one by one, and you have to try to, you are retraining someone's, let's say, movement and motion. So it's different for everybody. So you have to do it one by one. It's really necessary.
Of course, I agree with you, but we all know, and I'm pretty sure it's in Iran as well as all over the world, doesn't matter. The musicians, you know, we get the budgets, you know, can the school afford, you know,
Yes.
You know, do they have the room for a private teacher to give private lessons? I'm very lucky and blessed at New York University. I'm very lucky at that school, at Steinhardt specifically, but at Juilliard, they don't really have this physical space for giving private lessons all day. They could change it, but they haven't since I was a teenager until now. They still, you know, and they still do it in a group lesson, which I find very odd. But if they, you know, it is what it is, and here we are, you know, and it's all about the university or school's budget. Do they have the money for that? And, you know, but the beautiful part about NYU is that the kids love it because they can get credit towards their degree. And some kids, they want to see me for 4 years. They keep on coming back, which is quite funny.
Mm-hmm. Nice one. Okay, as a last question, I personally and the MuseMuscle team really hope that someday we can connect all the methods. We can to share information and learn from each other and have a community here to help the musician and inform them about the risks and maybe find out something, you know, something that could help musician during the musical career. And we really hope that someday we can put it in university as a course.
Yes.
The things that we all, you know, I think it's really necessary. How do you think about it? Is it possible to do that, to have a community and connect all the people who have worked in this field to have a better, you know, future for musicians?
I believe that there are communities out there that have, like, you know, and everybody, I'm going to be, well, I'm going to be very candid with everybody right now. Well, we're musicians. We follow our dream. We love the music. And that's why we're artists. But what happens is in universities, I can't speak for in Tehran. I don't know. But I know in Europe and I know here in the United States, there's certain people, because of human nature, let's just say, they become very territorial and negative. So believe it or not, in the Alexander community, there's a lot of territorial people. Body mapping, it's a much more open community and stuff like that. But I think connecting with the Body Mapping Association, they're great. Like, that would be great for you guys to, like, at least have an open dialogue. But I mean, the truth, I mean, I'm being very frank and honest with everybody. As much as we want to be nice and sharing and all that stuff, you just have to be aware of certain communities that are going to be territorial because they're scared of something that's different, or maybe you're taking something away from them. That's their issue. That's their insecurity. I think if you have a great idea, whether that you want to perform something or if you want to do something, in your case with like this educational thing, you have to land yourself in with many people and a community that wants the greater good for students. That's the main thing, because we're here, we love music and arts and stuff like that, but we have to pass it on. And if we can at least educate students, and you never know who you inspire. I mean, I've had, in the years I've been teaching Alexander technique, I've had 4 students become Alexander teachers because they were so inspired by the work. And that's why I'm trying to say, it's like, you know, like, that's why you need to be in a environment that wants to keep on bringing this for people. It's not just yes, individual. You have to make money, you have to live, you have to make a career. You know, it's individual, but it has to go beyond that as well. And there are communities out there, and especially like in Toronto, like what you're doing is like there's the University of Toronto and the Royal College there in Toronto. Like this is something that you really should investigate. You know, finding out people and networking in there, because they're open to that kind of thing. And the Canadian government does give grants. You know, there's Canada Council and all that, but you know, this is stuff that I specifically know because they're more. You don't really see it in New York, which is so bizarre because it's New York is the, you know, the window of the world or something like that. You know, but everybody New York. But there's certain things that in Canada are way much more progressive. England, maybe, Australia, maybe, like Germany. No, Scandinavia. Scandinavia is way much more progressive. Very progressive. You know.
Okay. We'll try our best to do it and fulfill our dreams of helping musicians stay healthy and without pain during their lives. I think it's our greatest aims, and I'm sure that we can do it together.
Absolutely. We say inshallah, inshallah. You know, I'm sure we will. It will happen. And we just continue to grow. And I think, like I was saying to you on the messages, and I was like, it's such a blessing that we just connected and we just clicked and we're like, all right, let's share what we got. And, you know, and Hamid is going to be coming to my unison orchestra, which is something completely different that we didn't even talk about. And if you guys want to, we have a date set. Yes, no, and we have a date set, and it's going to be, you know, great as well, because unison orchestra is something about music technology, and it's a completely different conversation about well-being. But well-being has to be part of playing your music. So there's like several other things I do. Alexander technique, body mapping, Suzuki teacher, performer, and learning. I'm also a contractor. I hire orchestras, you know, in LA, Los Angeles, and remotely. And we're doing music technology and Pro Tools and all that type of thing. So it's a busy life. It's a very busy life.
Yes, that would be great, and I'm honored to be there.
Yes, that'd be great. Please, definitely, please, and for the audience to please come to the Unison Orchestra. I believe it's like, I forgot the date. Forgive me, but we have it set already.
It's Friday, the following Friday.
Yeah. And it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be wonderful. Actually, I think it's gonna be a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And I love the fact you're in Tehran, I'm here in New York, and then we're going all around the world.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yes, but thank you, and thank you. I'm really grateful that you guys were here. And any more questions, you can always reach out to Hamed, and he'll tell me. And you know, I'm open to, like, you know, you can follow me. Thank you, merci, and you guys can follow me at Eddy Viola or Unison Orchestra and ask questions and stay in touch. And again, like I said from the first video, I gave you a lot. There was a lot to do, and you know, like, how do you? And as a teacher, we have to be careful not to information dump. Like, as my teacher said, don't dump so much information. It's about the student having self-discovery. I was just trying to be as efficient as I could about Suzuki, Alexander, body mapping, my life, your life, everyone's lives, and give a little bit of a thing, you know, an anatomy, using voice, using, you know, all these different things. But the more that you have, it's really about your self-discovery, and you get to be like a child again, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yes. Okay, Eddy, I'm real grateful to you for joining us today. It was my pleasure talking to you, and I really admire your knowledge, your approach, your personality. I'm so happy to get to know you. It was a good opportunity in my life because I'm learning a lot of things from you, and I'm really thankful to you for those ones. I hope that we can pursue our aim and help musicians. And I really hope to see you in the near future. I mean, in person.
Absolutely.
Because
Inshallah.
we have a lot to share, and you are welcome to come to Iran, as I mentioned before.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you for giving us your time. That was a wonderful live video. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that audiences learned a lot of things from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci, merci. And do you say in Farsi, do you say Khoda Hafiz? Khoda Hafiz?
Yes.
Okay, Khoda Hafiz. I was like, do I say that? I was trying to remember. I was like, Khoda Hafiz. Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's true.
Okay.
Thank you. Say some Persian words. It was wonderful to hearing them from you.
Thank you. I told you, I heard, but like, you know, but it's good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate your honesty and your knowledge sharing.
Thank you so much, and my absolute pleasure. And I look forward, you know, to keeping in touch. I'm really looking forward.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining.
Bye. Buona notte, everybody. Ciao. Buona notte. Ciao, everyone. Thank you.
Ciao. Bye.
Bye.
خب من یه توضیح راجع به لایو امروزمون به فارسی بدم. ادی ویولا با ما بود، فارغ التحصیل نوازندگی ویولا از جولیارد، هم توی دوران لیسانس و هم فوق لیسانس، مربی الکساندر، مربی بادی مپینگ و مربی سوزوکی برای سازه ویولون و ویولا. راجع به الکساندر به همون توضیح داد، راجع به بادی مپینگ توضیح داد که در واقع یه سری از مربی الکساندر چیزش کردن، پایه گذاریش کردن و میگفت خیلی چیز خوبیه، خیلی جذابه. من البته الان با در واقع ادی کلاس دارم، خیلی لطف کرده به من کلاس گذاشته، با هم بادی مپینگ کار میکنم، بهم بادی مپینگ درس میده، خیلی جذابه، خیلی جذابه. بعد راجع به اینا با اون صحبت کرد، راجع به اینکه چقدر این قضیه اهمیت داره و خودش توی ارکسترهای مختلف ساز میزنه و توی 16 سالگی آسیب دیده. خیلی نگران کننده است و اطلاعات خیلی خوبی داد. من جمعه مهمان ادی هم توی یونیسن ارکسترا، یه صفحه‌ای داره ادی به نام یونیسن ارکسترا، خیلی صفحه اینفورماتیو، خیلی اطلاعات خوبی داره و حتما پیشنهاد میکنم صفحه‌شو ببینید. من جمعه شب احتمالاً مهمون ادی هم، حالا پوسترش و اینا رو میذاریم اونجا، هم به اون بپیوندید، قطعا مکالمه خوبی خواهد بود. خیلی خوشحالم کردی که تشریف آوردید، ممنون از همتون. مخاطبای ایرانی اینجا شب دیگه، من دارم فارسی صحبت میکنم، شب خوبی داشته باشید تا لایو بعدی. خدا نگهدار.